Ah, Puck. Yeah, starting strong already out the gate. Whatever. Oh, fuck you. Is this the new thing? Let's make an anime spin-off game for the weebs. Some of these weebs might never have played a video game before. Let's ask them if they want to put on easy because they're babies. Why would you fucking buy a Berserk game and want gore turned off? What is this bullshit? What 12-year-old is playing this game? Oh, it's probably for game journalists, actually. Hey, game journalists. You might be triggered by the difficulty and bloodshed in this game. Go ahead and turn that off. Go ahead. Don't review our game bad just because you're triggered. Ah, it's the hawk. Fuck that hawk. Just shoot the shit out of it. Piece of shit hawk. Put your glasses on, nothing will be wrong. Tell me why, tell me why, tell me why, oh wow. I would do the joke where I splice in the anime opening over this, but I'd probably get copyright flagged like I did when I did that with Attack on Titan.
So put your glasses on, nothing will be wrong. There's no break, there's no fame, it's up to you.
Ah, wrecked. Spoilers? Spoilers for this story that started in 1989, by the way. This is such a weird mishmash. Berserk in the bed of the hawk. Wolverine and his X-Men. Why didn't they just call it Berserk Warriors? That would have been awesome! Imagine being like a child who's never heard of Berserk before, and you're just browsing the fucking store shelves, and you see a game called Berserk Warriors on the fucking... Yeah, I got a lot of DLC, because I pre-ordered this. Imagine like you're a child and you're just browsing the store shelves and you see a game called Berserk Warriors and you're like, that's the metalist shit I ever heard in my life. I'm gonna buy that. Oh, that'd be great. These games never exactly have like a balanced fucking difficulty system. Look at that. Just fucking straight up Dynasty Warriors 8. This is like all Japanese, so I'm pretty sure subtitles are just gonna be on by default. Anyway. Let's go ahead and bop in. Prologue. Gatsu. Yeah, when is this happening? Because Guts is... he has the Berserk armor. He has the Berserk armor on, but this looks like the Eclipse. Ah. Yeah. So it's still Dynasty Warriors. I'm loving this new trend of people who are always making fun of how oh, it's Dynasty Warriors. And then all of these, like, Warriors spin-off games, like fucking Arslan and this, and Hyrule Warriors are coming out, and they're good, because the Dynasty Warriors games are good. And people are like, it's good, but it's still Dynasty Warriors. LOL. You know, it's good for a Dynasty Warriors game, but I still have to take points off for being a Dynasty Warriors game. Like, I have no sense of independent fucking opinion whatsoever. I mindlessly regurgitate the stupid, like, internet pop culturalism that the Dynasty Warriors games are bad because I am told to believe that they're bad. So whenever a Dynasty Warriors game comes out that's good, I have to be like, oh, but it's still Dynasty Warriors though, so shut up. Oh, Hyrule Warriors is really good. Oh, but Dynasty Warriors though. Fucking faggots. And then this game's gonna be another one that I'm sure everyone's gonna be like, yo, it's really good, but that's in spite of the fact that it's a Dynasty Warriors game and not because of it, which is dumb. This game literally just plays exactly the same way every other Warriors game does. Every other Muso game does. And you know why it's good? Because it's a Muso game. So fucking stop being a pansy. Just admit that it's fucking, like, it's okay to think something's good even though the internet has conditioned you into mindlessly regurgitating the opinion that it's bad despite you never having played it. Just saying. But yeah, I don't know when this is happening, because it's Berserk Armor Guts. But look, there's the God Hand up there. When does this happen? It looks like it's the Eclipse. And so when is this happening? I'm not entirely caught up in the manga. I'm at like chapter like 250 or something like that. I'm not reading these Juros because I know how to fucking play. Like, it's just Dynasty Warriors 8. That's what it plays like. Only like with guts, of course. Yeah, 100-man Slayer within the first, like, 30 seconds of the game. Jesus Christ. Sorry, I'm struck by the fact that this is really, really fun. I can't talk, I'm just like, oh my god. I'm enjoying myself so much. So fucking visceral. No, come back, I'm not done killing you. The strange monsters. Greedy! No, that's not as good. You gotta shriek. You gotta shriek like a shrill fucking... like your balls haven't descended yet. That's the thing, like, these voice actors aren't bad, but I just prefer the guys from, like, the 97 anime. Because I'm pretty sure this is just using the cast from that new anime and the Golden Age movies that they did a few years back. Yeah, so I don't know. I think that was just a completely constructed linear tutorial level that's like completely disparate from everything else in the game. I don't know. I don't know when that could have happened. Maybe I just haven't gotten up to that part yet, but... Yeah, this looks like a scene from the Golden Age movies. It's like in Arslan. Remember how they just kind of showed scenes from the cartoon as cutscenes in the game? That's sort of, unfortunately, a little bit what this is. It's a little bit of an anime tie-in game. But it actually goes way further than the cartoon got to. Because I think, I haven't, like, watched it, but I do know that the 2016 anime only got up to, I think, like, the Conviction arc, and then it just stopped. And I know this, the Golden Age, yeah. Gambino! Betrayed Guts. Okay, they're cutting out some necessary information here. So this is our boy, Guts, or Gats, or Gatsu, operating Guts. He uses a big-ass sword, and later he'll get a fucking crossbow and some knives and shit. And it's awesome. So Guts is a great fucking character. And he's kind of like... The Berserk is one of those things that has kind of... Like, even if you've never read it or heard of it in your life... Hold on. Okay, yeah. Even if you've never read it or heard of it in your life, you've, like, been exposed to its influences in pop culture. If you've ever seen, like, a sad anime boy with a giant sword, if you've seen Cloud in fucking Final Fantasy VII, guess what? You've been exposed to fucking Berserk. Because that's what they get it from. Berserk is kind of like... Oh, what the fuck? It almost feels like too limiting to say that Berserk is kind of like Japan's Game of Thrones. Because Game of Thrones really only started catching on very, very recently. Berserk has been a huge influencer in all of Japanese media ever since it came out, really. In fact, I think, like, Berserk started back in fucking 1989 or something like that. And ever since then, it's kind of taken Japanese pop culture by storm. And for good reason. Although, it's kind of also necessarily had that problem of where... I think it's called, like, Seinfeld is unfunny because it's so influential and so, like, imitated that when you go back and actually read the things that those imitators... Baylets! Oh, you're just collecting baylets! Just go around and collect some baylets. What the fuck is the matter with you? Oh, I just have a baylet now. I just have that. Why would you just collect baylets? That's the worst. That's the worst collectible. Good God. Look at that, I already have 200 kills. Eventually, Guts will become known for being the 100-man slayer. Where he kills 100 men single-handedly. And he becomes known as the 100-man slayer. And everyone's like, yo, dude, that's fucking Guts, he's the 100-man slayer. I've already killed 232 people in my first battle. Oh, I have my frenzy mode fill up. I'm not using that enough. I feel like I probably should use that more. It's just one of those things where it's like, the DNA is so deeply instilled that you've been you've seen things in other stories that were inspired by Berserk, and you just didn't realize it. So if you went and read Berserk, you'd be like, oh shit, I know that. Like, oh, so that's, I've seen that before. And you might, it has that weird consequence where you think Berserk is the thing that's derivative because you've seen the thing that was derivative of Berserk first. Like, for example, fucking Dark Souls. The more, every page I read of Berserk, the less respect I have for Dark Souls. Because so much of Dark Souls is just Berserk. Like, so many characters and environments. If you play Dark Souls, you fucking read Berserk, basically. Like, I knew Artorias was just guts in the Berserk armor, but then you get to that panel where Guts is in the Berserk armor and his arm is broken, and you're like, fuck you, Dark Souls. You're full of shit. So this is our homeboy here, Guts. And you saw a little bit about, like, what his deal is in that little prologue there, but, like, this being a game, necessarily it's gonna cut out some details of backstory, right? The thing about Guts is he's had the worst life of everyone in the entire history of fiction and the world at large. If you think you've had a shitty life, wait until you hear about how shitty Guts has had it, and you will feel a little bit more grateful, like, oh jeez. It's like perspective. Oh, I got a sword through my head. Oh, but that guy has 2 swords through his head. My life's not so bad. Like, right from the beginning, Guts was born from a corpse. And that's not an exaggeration. Like, there was this fucking tree that had, like, dozens of bodies hanging from it. Like, people who had been hanged to death, right? Just dozens of hanging victims, and one of those people who was hanged was this pregnant chick. And after she was hanged, she gave birth, and the baby just plopped out of the dead pregnant body and fell into a puddle of mud and blood and garbage. And that baby was Guts. And that baby would have died were it not for the fortitude of a wandering band of mercenaries just happened to be passing by the tree, and they heard the baby crying, and they're like, baby, that's weird. Whatever. And then, like, one of the groupies, like, one of the prostitutes of the fucking mercenary band who travels with them and gets paid to fuck the mercenaries, was like, oh shit, a baby, and fucking jumped out and saved him and brought him with her. And that prostitute happened to be, like, the favored, like, not wife, but, like, the favorite prostitute of the leader of the mercenaries, Gambino, who it talked about there. And so Guts kind of essentially was Gambino's son, but not really. And Gambino was an asshole, but he taught him everything he knows. And despite being, like, a baby child, Guts still had to, like, carry his weight amongst the mercenary group. So he was brought into battle in, like, a support class. Like, basically as a squire, essentially. So he was exposed to, like, bloodshed and battle and death and all that from a very young age, like 4 or 5 years old. And like, Gambino was a harsh teacher. Like, not harsh, but fair. He was just a douchebag. And eventually, it was like, okay, time to join up myself. I'm gonna, like, be a mercenary too. And Guts became a child soldier at, like, fucking 5, 6, 7 years old or something like that. He goes into battle wielding this big-ass sword and kills dudes. Like, actually killing dudes as a baby child. But, like, being a band of mercenaries and all that, they were like, yeah, good job, child, murdering those people. You did a good job. And he's like, yeah. And Gambino was like, good job, son. And Guts was like, yeah. And then, like, after his first battle, he's like, awesome, I got my share of the fucking mercenary money. And he goes and chills out in his camp, and then this black dude, who is also part of the mercenary band, comes in and starts trying to fucking rape him. And he's like, excuse me, like, I'm not a fan of this happening right now. What are you doing? I'm not okay with that. Get off of me. And he starts, like, fighting him off because, you know, wouldn't you? And the black dude's like, what the fuck's your problem? I paid Gambino, so I'm gonna rape you now. Get over it. Oh, it's Pazuzu! Sorry, I'm interrupted by very, very bad CGI animation here.
どうした頭を叩き割られたやつから前出ろ
Pazuzu! I'll get to you. And so Guts here is like, hey, your dad fucking sold you as a sex slave to be raped by this black dude. Like, okay, getting raped sucks. Getting raped as an 8-year-old child by a black guy, probably even worse than just, like, in order of magnitude, probably not as fun getting raped by a grown black man. Like, that's not a racism thing, it's just black people have big dicks, okay? It's not a good time. Anyway, let's just move right on past that subject. I haven't checked all my other buttons yet. Yeah, it's fine. So Guts is raped, and he's like, well, I'm not happy that happened. And he goes to confront Gambino about it, and Gambino's like, yo, what's up, cuz? Like, acting like this nothing happened. And Guts is like, okay, so he must have been lying. Like, Gambino's acting like it ain't no big thing, so maybe he didn't have anything to do with it, right? What else can I do to get a Bailet? The time limit. So Guts is like, okay, let's figure out this. Oh, 100 men! Yes, I will become the 100-man Slayer. So next time they go out on, like, patrol to hunt down, like, surviving troops from the last battle, Guts gets the guy alone and fucking kills him. He's like, yeah, let's murder this man who raped me in cold blood. Because that's emotionally healthy to happen to someone when they're 8 years old. And he's like, fucking, are you lying or not? Did Gambino pay you or not? Or did you pay Gambino or not? And he's like, and he dies. And so Guts is like, he never found out the truth, really. And so years go by, and he's still being a mercenary under Gambino. But Gambino gets, like, injured in this battle and can't fight anymore. But he's still, like, the leader of the band. Look at that, I literally murdered 100 men. I am the 100-man Slayer. Thank you very much. Yeah, I can charge this, I was wondering about that. Yeah, 100-man Slayer, baby. Like, he has his leg amputated or something like that. So he's still around in, like, a leadership role, but he's a huge, surly asshole even more, because he feels, like, impotent because he can't fight anymore. Yeah. Did I get my Bailet? Yeah, no, I did not get my Bailet. I'm not sure. Anyway. Pazuzu! And so one night, Gambino gets all kinds of drunk, and he's like, "Fuck you, Guts. Like, you ruined my life. Ever since my favorite bitch picked you up 1,000 Manslayer." Defeat Pazuzu! Like, my life went to shit ever since you came into it. And he tries to kill Guts. And Guts is like, "Hey man, can you not?" And he reveals that yes, he did sell him to the Blackman for sex. And like, Guts is in emotional shock over this. Because he always suspected, but he never knew. He could never trust if that was true or not. And so he's all kinds of traumatized. And then, like, Gambino tries to kill him, and Guts just acts on instinct. And fucking stabs the shit out of him, and murders the shit out of his daddy. And he's like, "Oh fuck, I didn't mean it. Shit. This is not a thing that I wanted to happen." And then all the other mercenaries come in, and they're like, "What the fuck, you murdered Gambino?" And he's like, "No, wait," and they don't really give him time to explain, and they just try to murder him. And so he has to kill his way out of there and just flees from the only family he ever knew after killing his daddy. Oh, Jadu.
ねえグリフィス、あんたとどっちが強いかね。
くだらないことを聞くな。グリフィスの方が強いに決まってるだろ。
Look at their names are red. What could that mean? Why are they enemies? I saw them on the box art. There you go. And so anyway, he escapes and is like all wounded and injured, but by chance he gets saved by another group of mercenaries, and so then 4 years go by and we have what we see before us today. He's still a mercenary because he knows nothing else in his life. There's nothing else for him. All he has ever known is war and murder. And at this point, I think he's like maybe 14 years old at the absolute maximum. Yeah, blah, blah, blah. Like, he can't be older than 14, maybe a little bit younger. So he's been like a solo mercenary soldierman for 4 years, and he's been fighting as part of his old mercenary group even longer than that. Yeah, look at all these baylets I got! Oh god, why would you unlock baylets? That's the worst unlockable! Oh no!
給料2ヶ月分と今回の報奨金だ。
Oh, look at this shitty
考え直す
CG.
気はないのか。給料は3倍。士分に取り立ててもいいと言ってるんだぞ。あちらさんは俺たち傭兵にしてみりゃ夢みてえな話じゃねえか。
夢食えんのかそいつは。
待て。
So yeah, at this point, he's not really motivated by money, but he needs money to eat and all that.
窮屈なのは
He's really just, you know, what else is there for him in this life but fighting and war, right? So it's not that he's just a greedy mercenary. He's just alone and emotionally brittle. I like how that gets slotted as the Golden Age. Everything that happens up into a certain point is technically the Golden Age.